Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're dissecting the anatomy of a night shift nightmare. We're going to be looking closely at 4 totally chilling first-hand accounts from our source material that reveal the incredibly dark, unseen side of nighttime isolation. So let's dive right into this. Picture this for a second. Imagine you're sitting completely alone in a brightly lit, glass-fronted box surrounded by absolutely nothing but miles of pitch-black darkness. You're entirely visible to the outside world, but you can't see who or what is looking back at you from the shadows. That terrifying asymmetry? That's the core theme we're exploring today. Just listen to this quote. "You always work this late?" Take a second and really think about those words. When you're entirely alone, miles from help, a seemingly innocent observation from a complete stranger instantly transforms into this terrifying realization. You are being watched. You know, the anticipated piece of a night shift, getting paid to enjoy some quiet time, do a little paperwork, maybe catch up on YouTube, is completely shattered by the stark reality shown in our sources. The truth is, this extreme isolation breeds extreme vulnerability. You aren't just an employee anymore, you become a prime target. Section 1. The Graveyard Shift. Section 2. The Hotel Phantom. So, our first account happens at a quiet 40-room hotel during what should be a totally mundane night shift. Notice how this timeline of terror unfolds. At 11 p.m., a man in a baseball cap checks into room 214. His card swipes successfully, but he just stares at the worker a few seconds too long. By midnight, he's back in the lobby, staring blankly at a TV that isn't even turned on. But here's the horrifying realization at 1 a.m. The worker checks the system and sees room 214 is completely vacant. There's no transaction log, and the keycard log shows the door was never opened. The guy faked the entire check-in just to get inside. By 2 a.m., he's actively lurking in the dark, empty hallways of the hotel. 15 feet. By 3:30 a.m., after the worker has called the non-emergency police line, this man actually moves out of the shadows and stands exactly 15 feet away from the front desk. He stands completely still, not speaking a word, barely even blinking, and just intensely stars at the terrified worker. The security cameras revealed a horrific escalation. He wasn't just aimlessly wandering. He was standing motionless outside guest rooms for minutes at a time. He intensely studied another guest who buzzed in late. He finally approached the desk asking for food in this deeply disturbing, low voice. When police finally showed up at 4:10 a.m., the chilling truth came out. The credit card was stolen. He had no bags, no reservation. He had literally wandered the halls for hours with an unknown, sinister motive. So the crucial point here is, when you're in that lit box, you really have to ask yourself, who is watching you from the dark? Let's turn the page to our next source story, which dives into an intense, incredibly calculated level of observation. Section 3. The Obsessive Regular. Meet Meredith, a 24-year-old worker at an isolated gas station. Her quiet job was totally shattered when a guy named Paul walked in, leaned on the counter, and asked her this. You ever get scared being a woman alone at night? According to our source, the terrifying part wasn't that he was aggressive. It was the absolute neutrality in his voice. He was disguising deep, threatening surveillance as casual, polite curiosity. Notice the terrifying specifics of Paul's escalating obsession here. First, he points out that she uses little slashes instead of dots to write the letter I on the store's whiteboard. Next, he begins lingering in unlit cars at the edge of the lot, revealing he knows she always locks the back room door at exactly 2 a.m. And finally, he leaves a Polaroid picture on the counter. It's a close-up shot of Meredith working outside, taken from the dark, with red ink circling her specific handwriting on the windshield washer bin. When police finally arrested Paul, they searched his car and found a notepad. And this definitely wasn't just a passing curiosity. The pages detailed her exact schedule, notes on her groceries, the fact that her shoes were a half size too big, and even that her left eyelid twitched when she was tired. Most disturbing of all was a page with Meredith's name written over and over in tighter and tighter loops until it became frantic scribbles. What he called just paying attention was actually a highly dangerous, systematic obsession. To escape this guy, Meredith literally had to transfer to another gas station 2 hours away. The psychological impact of this extreme isolation is lasting. To this day, she says she's haunted by the way he said her name, like he had been practicing it. Section 4, the parking lot threats. Our next source involves a 22-year-old gas station worker who is completely unaware of a coordinated threat forming just outside her doors. Luckily, her coworker Max and a friend happened to be hanging out in the parking lot and noticed something deeply wrong. A brand new Subaru was parked with its lights off. It had no license plates. The driver claimed he was waiting for a DoorDash order, but the station hadn't even received one in 2 hours. Most chillingly, there was a huge pile of blankets in the back seat, easily enough to hide a person. When the coworker confronted the driver, he panicked, drove off, and an identical plateless car that had been sitting in the dark immediately followed him out. The very next night, that exact same car returned. And here is why this matters. The driver parked in a highly specific blind spot that the worker absolutely could not see from the register or the windows. If another group of customers hadn't arrived and spooked the car away a second time, the outcome could have been horrific. The worker realized just how close she came to absolute disaster simply by doing her job in the dark. I want to plant this terrifying question in your mind as we move to our final story. In all the previous accounts, the threat was visible on camera or seen from the window. But what if the lobby bell rings and there's no one there? Section 5, the bell ringer. This brings us to Daniel, a rural motel worker who actually prized the quiet nature of his shifts. Let's step through this agonizing timeline. At 2 a.m., the first ring echoes through the motel. Daniel checks, but the lobby is completely empty. At 2:10 a.m., the second ring hits. He steps outside. The road is dead quiet. Cars are off, no movement. At 2:25 a.m., the third ring. He searches the bathrooms and walks the lot with his flashlight. Nothing. Finally, at 2:45 a.m., to catch whoever is doing this, Daniel turns the lobby lights down dim, sits in the chair directed behind the front desk, and just waits in the agonizing silence. He waits 20 minutes. He actually starts to doze off. And then, the climax of our final source story happens. Right in front of his face, a pale hand reaches up from underneath the very desk he's sitting at and presses the bell. The intruder wasn't outside. He had squeezed himself into the tiny, cramped space beneath the counter, hiding literally inches away from Daniel the entire time. Daniel bolted into the back office, locked the door, and watched the security footage in sheer panic. A tall, hunched figure in a tightly pulled hoodie crawled out from under the desk on his hands and knees. He walked to the locked back office door and tested the knob with a single, slow rattle. Knowing Daniel was trapped inside, the intruder didn't run. He casually paced the lobby, staring out the glass doors, even sarcastically flipping through the motel brochures to kill time. When police sirens finally flashed in the distance, he slipped out through a door he had intentionally propped open with a large rock, just vanishing into the night. So as we conclude this explainer, we really have to recognize the immense psychological toll highlighted in all of our source material. These aren't just spooky stories, you know? They are the stark realities of extreme isolation. It leaves us with one final, chilling thought to take away from this. Next time you drive past a brightly lit gas station or a quiet motel at 3 a.m. and see a lone worker behind the glass, ask yourself, who else is watching them from the dark? Well,